All right, here we are for round one of my red white burn league. I won the die roll. Perfectly good. Look at this hand. No creature, which is really unfortunate when you're on the play. You can really leverage having a creature on the play, even if your opponent has removal. You get in damage. You force them to have to either fetch poorly or shock themselves sometimes to make sure they can cast their spells. But here it's enough. It's got to be a keep. Like we have two lands, five burn spells. There are some decks the Searing Blaze won't be good against. Also, I don't have a third land for the Searing Blaze, so like unless they play something on turn one, can't really get it. But I do get to suspend Riftbolt on turn one, which it's probably better to do that than Lava Spike. The only reason to do Lava Spike instead is if I want to Riftbolt a creature later on. But game one, it's just so I don't want to Riftbolt a creature. And the other thing is that I have Searing Blaze, so if he well, that's the one thing. If I suspend the Riftbolt, he might be less likely to play like a Glistener Elf or Wild Mikado or something because I can kill it. But against Burn, like usually you just play your creatures into it. Basically, if I let on Lava Spike, maybe they're more likely to play a 1-drop that I can Searing Blaze. But I don't think that's relevant enough. This costs 1 mana and happens right away. So if I draw like a Swift Spear or something, that's a lot better than the Rift Bolt is. Not to mention if I'm just dead on board, this takes a turn. So let's go ahead and just get Basic Mountain here. And the reason we get Basic Mountain is we only need one Plains, so we can potentially draw into an Inspiring Vantage or just draw Sacred Foundry itself to save us some life. Really not really a question here. There's no Wild Mikado or anything in this deck, which is nice. It means that I don't like when you have Wild Mikado and a Tarkus command in your deck, you have to aggressively. I'd have to shock like Stomping Ground into Sacred Foundry here just to make sure I could cast spells that I draw. Here with just the red white deck, it's a lot cleaner on the mana. You're gonna get screwed a lot less often, and also the helixes are better because like you don't play helix in the green version, but in this version, not only are you taking more damage from your lands, but you're gaining through off the helix, so you get into more extended top decks. So like you might, if I have 3 more life from a helix and 3 more life from my lands, then I can potentially get away with a victory where I get to like draw another card because I have 1 more turn. Looks like we're playing against Ad Nauseam, which is a pretty good matchup, though they usually have Leyline of Sanctity, so that can kind of be an issue. He does have a Searing. He did modify, but he does have a Lotus. So that should be pretty good for him. And we don't have a creature, which is pretty problematic. We're going to go ahead and just pass here. Not having a creature against them is pretty terrible because usually, if they have something like a Phyrexian Unlife or even an Angel's Grace, like they're just going to have so much extra time. They don't have any removal in their deck, so a Goblin Guide is literally just going to do them 2 damage a turn. Which is obviously unfortunate. So hopefully we can draw a creature. Any creature will do. Lightning Bolt is not unreasonable. Like it's our best burn spell we could draw in this situation, but as you can kind of see, this hand, maybe I'm supposed to mulligan this hand. It's tough to mulligan this kind of hand, though. Against a creature deck, it's pretty good because I can remove what their creatures if I have to. And, those decks usually play Shocklands, but this deck doesn't do any damage to itself and has no removal. So we ended up kind of in a tough spot keeping this hand against them. Trying to pass turn here. Still would love to draw a creature. Opponent is on the double queue or tanking, or I don't know. He's back. Pretty unfortunate. If he's got a Phyrexian Unlife, we're pretty much doomed here. even though he mulled to 5, like this deck is a 2-card combo, so it doesn't need, like, being constricted on resources is not that big of a deal considering I have no clock. Okay. Well, we have him dead to a burn spell, so if I can... The Lotus Bloom's coming off this next turn, though, so it might be too late. I was going to say, if I could get him to have to burn an Angel's Grace, then he might not have one for his combo, but... Yeah, you see I have enough burn. I had enough burn to kill him. Just know him not playing any fetch lands or shock lands, obviously, makes it a little bit more difficult. Ooh, a City of Brass. That's interesting. Do I... dome him here? I think I do. I should probably be looking at his scries, huh? I was not really paying attention to that. Oh. Moto? Please? Oh. Oh, God. Oh. Good grief. Should have definitely been looking at his scries. His Temple of Enlightenment put a card on the bottom, and his Temple of Deceit put a card on the bottom. So, potential. I think we just fetched within our deck. Even if you... Hopefully we can draw something to get him. Eidolon is interesting because he can't... If this resolves, I think we actually win because you can't Angel's Grace. That's got split second, but the trigger still resolves before split second. Split second is just can't be responded to. Yeah, the Eidolon is just game. Nice. Well, that was a timely draw. Killed him on turn 5. Not the greatest clock, but our opponent mulled to 5. So, yeah, sometimes you just get there. It looks like my sideboard is not great, but we want the Revelries, of course. Do I want Skullcrack? Really wish I had a Tarkus command because it deals to each opponent. But we're going to have to cut all the Searing Blazes anyway. So let's put in one Skullcrack, I guess. Nothing else really does anything. A Lightning Helix is just strictly worse than Skullcrack. Though, this deck doesn't really play cards that gain them life. Like, maybe he's got like a random Timely Reinforcements or something. But I believe this is what we do in this matchup. Not in love with Lavamancer, but it gives me a way of, like... It's actually nice to stick a threat. Like I said, he's got no removal. I mean, he might have a Slaughter Pack post-board, but if I can get him down to one... Like, Grim Lavamancer is good against Angel's Grace, basically, because I can just upkeep it. Rest in Peace doesn't provide any disruption here. So I guess we just submit this. Is Lightning Helix better than anything that I'm playing? Like, probably not better than Lavamancer. Yeah, it's pretty much forced to board this way. There's not really any other options. None of the cards are applicable to my sideboard at all. I could play Gut Shot instead of Lightning Helix, which is kind of hilarious. But I don't think it's good enough. I mean, it definitely isn't good enough, but it's only in like a dream scenario good enough where like I have a really fast draw and like that extra point. Like against a deck that has Angel's Grace and Phyrexian Unlife, I'd much rather be in a spot where my spells do more damage than have like more cheaper but less burn. I just want as big burns as possible. I really wish this like actually fit to my monitor properly. Wow, 3 Skullcracks. I'm tempted to mulligan this hand. I think that we don't have a Destructive Revelry. This hand, if he's got Leyline, is really bad. And we don't even have a second land, so if we draw a Revelry, like, we're not in great shape. Like, I really want a 1-drop in this matchup, or a Revelry. So let's go ahead and mulligan. This does have all my colors, which is kind of nice. If he's got Leyline, like, we probably just lose if we don't find Revelry right away. I don't want to mulligan to the Leyline. Like, I want to mulligan in such a way where, like, I'm still keeping hands where when he doesn't have Leyline, I still win. But the Revelry is good because it also hits. Like, Revelry is just the best card because it hits Unlife as well, which normally is an issue. Hopefully he doesn't have another Lotus. He went bottom, and no Lotus. Okay. I'm gonna fetch Shock, just to thin. But yeah, him not having a Leyline is pretty nice. Being on the draw, though, he's not going to take any damage from his lands. We do have a Boros Charm. Pretty solid draw. Not as good as Eidolon, but pretty swell. Okay, so I guess we're just going to go Bolt you. Play... Well, yeah, no, I want to get the Lavamancer down. I guess this is the one matchup where Jerry T had one Molten Rain in the sideboard, which, I don't know, 3-mana spells that are, like, not even necessarily that game-breaking, I don't think are great, but this would be a matchup where having that Molten Rain instead of one of these random Skullcracks would be great. Just burn, that's, like, more disruption. So I guess I understand why he plays one. City of Brass. Okay, there's an Unlife. So, nothing really special here, though. I guess I should count, like, when I can put him to 0 life. Assuming he takes another one from... Because there could be a scenario where I want to use the Skullcrack instead of the Boros Charm. Boros Charm him to 9. Attack him for 5, put him to 4. This, yeah, it doesn't really matter. We're just going to Boros Charm. There could be a situation where, like, I'd rather save the Boros Charm because it does more damage once he is negative. But to my count, we're going to put him to 4 here, which means if he uses the City of Brass, we can put him to 0 and then attack to get damage in that way. But if he's got an Ad Nauseam, we're going to just lose unless we draw Revelry here. Well, I guess he's got to have a land, but... Playing this deck is really straightforward, which is a nice breath of fresh air. I mean, Modern is, you know, pretty intricate format, so it's nice to sometimes be the beatdown. What did we reveal last turn? Don't even really see. Yeah, he doesn't even need a land for Okay. That's pretty annoying. Instead. So there's no reason to attack. Since I don't know how this interaction works, I'm just going to attack with the Swift Spear, but I think he's just going to stay at 1. We pass, and if he's got Ad Nauseam, we lose. Okay. All right, game 3. Same deal. We don't really have anything. We're just gonna burn. We're just gonna throw burn at him. If we draw Revelry, draw Revelry. Molten Rain would have been great that game, I do admit. Could have maybe won me the game, actually, killing that Reef. This is probably a matchup where Nakatl, not having Nakatl sucks, because the Nakatl just domes him for 3 every turn and gives you more 1 mana plays. Seems like in this series of me playing Modern on Magic Online for TCGplayer.com, I run into Ad Nauseam a lot. I guess it's just like a budget deck because it doesn't play like fetch shock lands, and it plays a bunch of random just like rares like Ad Nauseam and though I'm not gonna say Angel's Grace, and I'm not sure how much those cards could actually be worth something. The Angel's Grace and the Unlife and Ad Nauseam and stuff. I know they aren't worth anything in real life, but it could be a situation where they're just spiked on Moto because people need them. But it's one of the few like true combo. I mean, Modern's weird because every deck's a combo deck, but it's one of the few true combo decks of Modern. You know, like there's no Storm really right now. Definitely not the most interesting matchup to start the video off. Got pretty lucky to win game 1. I mean, I guess we're still kind of playing against Leyline. Sometimes they don't have that many Leylines, but a lot of them do. Revelry? No. This hand's a keep. I have double Goblin Guide. Even if I scry land on top, I'm still going to fetch it away. This hand could potentially beat a Leyline. Probably not, but I do have double creature, so it could happen. Not thrilled about my chances. Gonna definitely be fetching Sacred Foundry here. There is an argument for... I guess it depends. If he's got a Leyline, then we have to fetch the Stomping Ground in case I draw Basic Mountain. Burn is like a wild ride if you ever want to play it in a tournament. Like I played Burn at... Well, did I play Burn? When was the last time I played Burn in a big tournament? I can't remember. Oh, I played Red-Black Burn at the Pro Tour. Ooh, Inspiring Vantage is super interesting. Oh, man. Do I risk missing out 2 damage to ensure a second land drop? I think so, because I'm only a little bit above 1 and 3 to hit a land drop if I fetch. So I think we just play Bloodstained Mire pass. Yeah, I think this is fine. It's not great, but land is so important for me to draw. And it's also, if it was a basic mount, like, the fact that it's a red-white land is good, too. If it was a basic mountain, then, like, doesn't even give us perfect mana. I said as soon as I saw this hand I wasn't going to do this, but thinking about it now, I think it's fine. And, like, drawing a third land isn't even that bad here, because I can go Lava Spike plus Skullcrack. We're just trying to be fast. Not to mention, we do give him 1 less Goblin Guide flip. Like, if the top card of his deck was a land, this probably actually worked out. Lotus Bloom on top. Okay, that's basically a brick. City of Brass. Alright. Pentad Prism. Attack first. Dark Slick and Sleight of Hand. It's at 11. I guess if I draw Destructive Revelry, I'm going to want to use that, probably. So let's just Lava Spike. Well, actually, using a Skullcrack is much more mana efficient when I'm probably going to get to cast everything anyway. If I draw like a Revelry, though, what happens? If I put him to 5, he's just dead if I draw Revelry and he plays. Yeah, no, we just Lava Spike. Because if he plays a Phyrexian Unlife and I draw Revelry, we just win. Drown in Sorrow. Okay, I actually have enough to kill my opponent. Oh my god, why does it like crush my, like do that? I hate it so much. Put a card on top, okay. So I'm feeling kind of dead here. Oh, he had a Sleight of Hand? That makes it less likely that it was a card that just kills us. What do we want here? An Eidolon, I guess? Eidolon's probably the best. The best draw. Yeah, we were 1 damage short here, looks like. So if I would have fetched on turn 1 and... Yeah, maybe fetching on turn 1 is just good. Oh, he's just passing? Maybe he has it and is just waiting? So, upkeep versus right now. Right now, he's got, what, 6 mana? I might as well just do it right now. That cuts him off of the City of Brats. Doesn't really do much, but... if he had it, he would have used it end of turn. He could just not have an Ad Nauseam. But he has to lose a counter or go to 1. Which means now his City of Brass is turned off. Well, actually, you can actually Angel's Grace in response to a City of Brass. So we're looking to rip land here. We made him use an Angel's Grace. He just doesn't have an Ad Nauseam. If he had it, we would have lost. There's an Unlife. Okay, well that's... oh, that's just game. Actually, I'm not sure if this is game or not, how this works. He could have a Pact of Negation. Does that change when I should do this? No, we should just do it now. I actually don't know. I believe this kills him. Oh, because if this resolves, this is dead anyway. So he's at -1, so he just loses it by stay space effects. All right, well, drawing Revelry is obviously the best thing to do in that matchup.